that would have prevented quite a few of my plant failures slash murders. If I could be living in Jumanji, I would. I wish I'd started doing that sooner on in my houseplant journey. I didn't, but I wish I had. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me already, my name is Emma, and this is what I wish I knew before I got into houseplants. So this video was actually suggested by one of my patrons, Naomi, and then all of my patrons came in together and voted on me actually making this video. So thank you so much, Naomi, and my patrons for selecting this video, because I think this is actually a really fun one. I get to share what I wish I knew before I got into this crazy whirlwind of a hobby. And now, like, kind of my job too. So I've been collecting houseplants for what? Nearly 4 years now? I know that's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. That is nothing compared to some people out there who've been collecting for decades. I know. I'll be that in a few decades, but I've still learned loads throughout this time, and I've really loved my experience so much that I figured it'd be good to share with you what are some things that I wish I knew before I got into it all, because this experience has truly changed my life. Collecting houseplants has changed my life, and I thought it would be nice to share them with you. Really quick, before I get into the things that I wish I knew, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below and comment on what you wish you knew before you got into houseplants, because I'm curious. And subscribe for more. Right, let's get into it. So this first one is a big one, and it is that you will most definitely kill some plants during your collecting journey. And sometimes it's not always going to be your fault. Sometimes it will. You can't be perfect. You're not going to be the perfect plant parent all of the time. Sometimes things are just unavoidable. Some things are totally avoidable and you'll still make the mistake. But it's okay. It's okay to kill plants. Not every plant is going to be perfect for you, and sometimes plants just hate you. I don't know why, but some plants just hate me. Looking at you, spider plants. So even if you're trying your very, very best, sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes you'll forget to water. Sometimes you'll be too busy to water, or too tired, or mental health will get in the way, family will get in the way, nothing will get in the way. You just don't water, or you'll overwater, or there'll be pests, or you won't give the plant the exact right care, and that's okay. It's all about learning, and it's really how you respond to that situation that is what's important. Don't get too down on yourself. We've all done it. I don't know a single plant parent who hasn't killed a plant. It's just part of this whole thing. It's part of the hobby. It happens. And it's okay to be sad that you've killed a plant, but in the end, they are just plants. And I know sometimes they're expensive, or you've been loving them for so long, or you've tried your very hardest, but they are just plants, and their death isn't necessarily a reflection of you. Sometimes it just happens, and sometimes it's just not meant to be. They are, in the end, replaceable, and I know it may not seem like that, but they are. So remember that it is okay to kill plants. Try not to do it intentionally. Of course, do your very best to avoid it, but it will happen and it's okay. The next thing I wish I knew is how much of my life was going to be consumed by this hobby. I don't know if I'm just like really obsessive and like this is just an obsession. Well, it is an obsession, but like I don't know if I'm just extra obsessive compared to the average person, but houseplants have like literally taken over my life, and I love it. I am not mad at it. I am so happy that this is my life, and I absolutely love this whole thing. Plants are the freaking best. Like, of all the hobbies, like, I'm pretty happy it's plants. Almost all of my free time is spent taking care of my plants. It is a massive time commitment, especially when you get into the levels of having 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, more than 100 plants. It can take quite a long time to take care of them all. It's certainly a time commitment. I never thought I'd be spending multiple hours on a weekend just taking care of plants. But I absolutely love it. Like, it's only stressful some of the time when things are going wrong, or if I haven't looked after them for ages because of been feeling unwell mentally or just been so exhausted that it's not been possible, then it can be overwhelming. But for the most part, I absolutely love taking care of them, and I couldn't imagine a better way to spend my time, because it is meditative, isn't it? Like, I find taking care of my plants like a time where I can kind of just relax and not think about the greater issues in my world or the world, and just really focus on this very concrete thing in front of me and trying to keep it happy and healthy. So I think that's why I like it so much, and that's why I'm okay with spending so much time doing it. Also, it is a huge space commitment. I'm pretty positive at this point that almost all of the spaces in my house, like all surfaces, are just covered in plants. And I'm sure it gets in the way sometimes. I'm sure Joe doesn't like it all the time. But in the end, I can't be mad because I really like the way it looks. I love the sort of jungle vibe aesthetic for the home. If I could be living in Jumanji, I would. I would love to like live in a forest. I live in London, not a tropical rainforest. But if I could live in a tropical rainforest, if I could possibly do it, I'm going to try my very best to get that tropical rainforest vibe going on at my house. So every possible surface is covered in plants. Also, who would have thought that I would know the exact orientation of every window in my flat, given all the windows are the same orientation, so like that's not that much difficult to know. But like knowing the orientation and like buying a flat specifically that had the right windows, like that was a huge thing when Joe and I were looking for flats. The windows had to be facing the right direction, because especially in the UK, there's not that much light. So if we were facing northeast, oh my god, my flat would be so freaking dark. And I wouldn't be able to have half these plants in here, or I just need like 1,000 more grow lights, and I've already got a freaking 1,000 grow lights. So, like, who knew that I'd be buying a flat based on its orientation? Who knew that that would be such an important thing for me in my life, the direction my flat faces. The third thing is that it is super duper 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 important not to compare yourself to people on Instagram. I really struggled with this at the beginning, and I still even do now. I see people's Instagram feeds and I'm like, wow, these are absolutely gorgeous. Like, all of their plants are perfect. They have so many. They have all the nice rare ones, and they keep them so nice, and they're growing so big, and they look so healthy. And I need to remind myself regularly that Instagram is a highlight reel. Even in the plant community, it is a highlight reel. And I know that I'm guilty of mostly sharing my plant successes, but that's because I'm excited about them, and like those are the things that I want to share. But I also try my best to also sometimes share the failures and show that I'm certainly not perfect, because I am far from the perfect plant parent. I literally have 3 plants at least sitting on shelves right now that are dying. Told you I'm not the best, but like I'll try and show them as well. It's just hard because like Instagram is such an aesthetic platform, and I want my page to look aesthetically nice, so I either have to take really nice pictures of my dead plants or they don't end up on the feed. Maybe I'll post more stories of it, because I think it's really important to remember, and like especially if you're just starting out, that like it's not a bad thing to have ugly plants or to have plants that aren't photogenic. Of course, I rarely post them, but I think I will try to more going forward, because I don't want to be part of this problem as much. Also, like posting common plants. Like now that I've gotten into more rare plants and it's become a thing in my life, I find that, and I end up posting them more because I'm like more excited about them. But that doesn't take away the like greatness that is more common houseplants. Like, my favorite houseplant genus of all time, genus might not be the right word, is pothos. Epipramnums, they are my favorite. Like, give me a gorgeous marble queen, a pothos and joy, a mandula. Oh my god, their little viney, traily goodness. I mean, I'm gonna throw scindapsus in there as well, because I freaking love those as well. Like, give me a satin pothos. Oh my goodness, they're so pretty, and like they're just so common, and everybody can have them in their homes, and it just makes me so excited. So just know that behind every anthurium, there's probably at least one pothos somewhere. But yeah, I'm gonna start trying to post my failures a little bit more often, because life can't always be as perfect as it seems on Instagram, and it's really important to remember that. Another thing that I wish I knew was how much I would have to research before buying plants. One of the biggest things that you should be doing before buying plants, myself included, is research plants before you get them, because that would have prevented quite a few of my plant failures slash murders throughout this time. I could have prevented a lot of that by doing research beforehand, and instead of just buying a plant because it looked pretty, I know we're all guilty of that. Instead of just buying a plant that looks pretty, buying plants that you know that work in your home, that work with the windows you have, or the light that you can give them, or the water or care or humidity or whatever that you can give them, because that's going to make the biggest difference. If you're getting plants that work for your home, they're going to live so much better and be, in the end, less work for you than if you get random stuff and try to figure it out later, because that's when you get into trouble. Nowadays, you kind of don't have an excuse. There are so many like plant care videos on this channel specifically. I put them up, so if you're following me, go watch them, because they're literally there to help you. Like, that's my goal, is to help you be a better plant parent. So go watch them. Go watch them from other creators. Go read blogs about houseplants and how to care for whatever ones, because there's a lot of really useful information out there, and so there's really no excuse. Just do your research. I know it sucks. It feels like you're doing homework for your hobbies, but it's worth it. I promise. I promise you it's worth it. I wish I started doing that sooner on my houseplant journey. I didn't, but I wish I had. And finally, this one's a little bit weird, but I wish that I knew that I was going to have bugs in my home. Bugs in general, I can get behind. Bugs in the outside, I can get behind. They're doing their jobs, they're helping the ecosystem, that's good. Bugs in my home, on the other hand, I struggle with. They're not something that I necessarily want in my home. I get nervous about them. I don't like seeing them. But pests are something that just happens with plants. It's just what happens. They're a natural thing, and sometimes they carry pests, and I think it's almost impossible to have bought at least 100 plants without experiencing at least one bout of pests of some form, whether it be thrips, mealybugs, spider mites, scale, I don't know, what else is there, aphids? But no matter what, you've probably experienced some sort of pests. I've dealt with most of them at this point. I think, knock on wood, the only one that I haven't dealt with that much is mealybugs, and I don't want to. So if I can avoid getting mealybugs, that would be great. But yeah, basically pests just come with plants sometimes, and it's just what happens. Also, there's beneficial insects in plants as well, like worms. I know that's not like a bug. Is it a bug? Are worms bugs? Are they invertebrate? Whatever they are. Worms are in soil. There's like beneficial insects in your soil too, and so bugs just will occur in places that plants exist, because that's where they live. If you do find yourself experiencing pests, you can try something like beneficial insects. I know, who knew that I'd be bringing more bugs in to get rid of the bad bugs in my home? I don't know if mites count as insects, but predatory mites are freaking brilliant. I've been testing out predatory mites for a minute now, and I have really liked them. I think it's crazy that bringing in new bugs kills the bad bugs, and how do they know what bugs to eat? It's crazy. I don't fully understand it yet, but I think they're awesome. But I've accepted it. I've just accepted that pests are in my home, and it's not the worst thing in the world. And at first I was really skeeved out by them. The first time I found thrips, I felt like almost physically ill. I just felt dirty, and it like, but it's not really a reflection of you. It's more so just something that happens with houseplants. So do your best to prevent them, and you'll do well. But also, it happens. Pests are okay. It's just, you just gotta deal with them, and that's just part of the whole thing. So that is it. Those are 5 things that I wish I knew before I got into houseplants. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up down below and comment on what you wish you knew before you got into houseplants, because I want to know. Did any of these resonate with you? Do you have other things that you wish you knew? Please let me know, because I like hearing about this kind of stuff. I love talking to planty people about planty things. Just tell me, it's fun. Cool. And subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!